Welcome to the Instant Trivia Podcast, episode 1995, where we ask the best trivia on the internet. Let's get started. Which pioneering aviator completed the first solo non-stop transatlantic flight in the airplane called the Spirit of St. Louis? Answer: Charles Lindbergh. Which region was the primary battleground in the conflicts between Napoleon's forces and Spanish, Portuguese, and British troops from 1808 to 1814? Answer: Iberian Peninsula. What is the name of the continuous tube that runs from the mouth to the anus and is responsible for digestion and nutrient absorption? Alimentary canal. The 2009 biographical film, The Last Station, starring Christopher Plummer and Helen Mirren, portrays the final year in the life of which literary figure who died in 1910 at the Ostapovo train station? Leo Tolstoy. Which major U.S. city is particularly known for frequent tornadoes, especially during the spring? Oklahoma City. Which U.S. state is home to El Centro, a city known for its agricultural production and proximity to the Mexican border? California. Which Scottish chemist and physicist invented the vacuum flask? Sir James Dewar. Which Russian chess grandmaster served as world chess champion from 1985 to 2000 and is renowned for his deep understanding of the game and contributions to chess theory? Garry Kasparov. Which iconic singer had a 1991 hit with Love and Understanding? Cher. Which character created by E.B. White is a small mouse who lives with a family in New York City? Stuart Little. Which European nation, known for its neutrality, officially joined the United Nations in 2002? Switzerland. What 1987 film about a couple who kidnap a baby includes a memorable scene involving a brand of diapers? Raising Arizona. In bartending, what are a pony, a jigger, and a jackpot? Answer: small units of liquid volume used as measures for alcoholic drinks, bartending measures. Which novelist, famous for his three-letter surname, wrote the novels The Name of the Rose and Foucault's Pendulum? Umberto Eco. Which peninsula is shared by Mexico, Guatemala, and Belize? Yucatan Peninsula. Which pope visited Twickenham Stadium in 1982 to celebrate a mass attended by thousands? Pope John Paul II. Which French player did John Isner defeat 70-68 in the fifth set at the 2010 Wimbledon Championships? Nicolas Mahut. What name was given to members of the Protestant Reformed Church of France from the 16th through the 18th centuries, many of whom emigrated after the late 17th century, who followed the teachings of John Calvin? Huguenots. What is the collective noun for a group of kangaroos? Mob. Which specific art form is the American artist Alexander Calder best known for? Mobile sculptures, mobiles. Which island is famously associated with the myth of Daedalus and the Minotaur's labyrinth? Crete. Which trading card game, where players summon creatures and cast spells, features a character named Richard in its lore and is frequently referenced in adaptations and parodies? Magic: The Gathering. The Russell breed, known for being energetic and intelligent, belongs to which group of dogs? Terrier. What is the name for a small measure, 1 U.S. fluid ounce, of spirits? Pony. In which country is the film industry known as Bollywood primarily based? India. Hydrated magnesium sulfate is commonly known by what name? Epsom salts. Which mythical creatures lured sailors to their doom with enchanting songs? Sirens. What unit of length equal to 16.5 feet is commonly used in surveying and land measurement? Answer rod, also called perch or pole. The international corporate brands Slacker, Rudio, and Spotify primarily deliver what service? Music streaming. When Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister on May 4th, 1979, who was her first Chancellor of the Exchequer? Geoffrey Howe. On which Scottish island is Talisker whiskey produced? Isle of Skye. Which African country uses the cedi as its basic unit of currency? Ghana. Which 1973 thriller set in Venice features a recurring mysterious small figure in a red coat seen by a grieving couple? Don't Look Now. Which company was responsible for the 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico? BP. Which Coen Brothers film stars George Clooney as an escaped convict during the Great Depression? Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Which record label was Elvis Presley's first recording home? Sun Records. What term describes the type of physical comedy characterized by exaggerated actions and visual humor, often associated with the antics of the Three Stooges? Slapstick. What is the term for the crime of killing one's mother? Matricide. Which animal is the symbol of the U.S. Republican Party? Elephant. Which soul musician's bald head appears on the cover of the album Hot Buttered Soul? Isaac Hayes. Which infectious disease, marked by a characteristic red rash and caused by group A streptococcus, is commonly associated with strep throat? Scarlet fever. Which Black American athlete won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics, undermining Nazi claims of Aryan superiority? Jesse Owens. What term describes the fact that light behaves both as a wave, showing interference and diffraction, and as a particle? Answer: wave-particle duality. Which future U.S. president hosted the television series Death Valley Days during the 1960s? Ronald Reagan. On the Beaufort scale, what term describes winds of 25 to 31 miles per hour? Strong breeze. Which famous composer, renowned for his prolific output and mastery of many musical forms, was born in Salzburg? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Which language does the English word bungalow come from? Hindi, from Bengali Bangla. Where is the Iberian Peninsula located? Answer: in southwestern Europe, between the Atlantic Ocean to the west and northwest, and the Mediterranean Sea to the east and southeast. Which two American automakers introduced power steering on production cars in 1951? Buick and Chrysler. What is the main ingredient in the dish Welsh rarebit? Cheese. That's the end of the show. Thanks for listening. Come back tomorrow for more exciting trivia.